Imagine waking up one morning to find that your entire online life has been exposed. A hidden door in the digital world has been opened, letting in thieves who steal your most private information. What if that door had been standing wide open for years, and the thieves had been watching your every move? This is the story of one of the largest data breaches in history, a tale filled with suspense, deception, and the slow unraveling of a once mighty giant, Yahoo.
Yahoo first estimated that 1 billion of its users had been affected by this hack. The information of all of its users was compromised in the massive hack back in 2013.
Yahoo has an urgent message for users. Go online immediately and change your password and security questions.
This is the largest number of records stolen in any breach in the history of, the internet.
In 2013, Yahoo was a household name, a beacon of the early internet. Millions relied on its services like email, news, and search every day. However, beneath the surface, the company was struggling. Competitors like Google and Facebook were taking the lead, leaving Yahoo to fight for relevance. Yet, no one could have predicted the unseen force that was quietly infiltrating the company's core, a threat that would shake Yahoo to its foundations and forever change the digital landscape. Late in 2013, as Yahoo continued to lose its grip on the internet, a shadowy group of hackers began to execute a carefully planned operation. These weren't your average cybercriminals. They were sophisticated attackers with ties to Russian state-sponsored actors. Their motives ran deeper than mere financial gain. They wanted access to the treasure trove of personal information held within Yahoo's vast databases. How did these hackers manage to breach one of the internet's biggest companies? Their method of entry remains somewhat of a mystery, but they identified a weakness in Yahoo's security protocols. The hackers slipped past defenses unnoticed, setting the stage for a long, detailed exploration of Yahoo's network. They didn't rush to steal data. Instead, they took their time, analyzing the systems and learning how to manipulate them to their advantage. As the months went by, the hackers dug deeper, uncovering vast amounts of sensitive user information. Then came the moment of discovery. They stumbled upon Yahoo's user database, containing the details of 3 billion accounts. This included email addresses, hashed passwords, names, phone numbers, birth dates, and answers to security questions. The enormity of this treasure trove meant they had access to nearly every Yahoo user, from casual email users to business leaders. Even more alarming was the sophisticated method they employed to access user accounts. The attackers used forged cookies, allowing them to bypass user authentication protocols. This tactic meant they could enter accounts without needing passwords, allowing them to silently sift through private emails and information without detection. The breach was not just a theft, it was a full-scale invasion of privacy on an unprecedented scale. Incredibly, Yahoo remained unaware of the breach for nearly 2 years. It wasn't until 2016 that the company discovered the intrusion. By that time, the hackers had operated undetected for so long that they had already wreaked significant havoc. When Yahoo finally made the breach public in September 2016, they reported that 500 million accounts had been compromised. At the time, this was hailed as one of the largest data breaches in history, but it was merely the tip of the iceberg. Just a few months later, in December 2016, Yahoo revealed the shocking truth. All 3 billion accounts had been affected. The breach had impacted every person who had ever used Yahoo's services. Although credit card information wasn't stored in the database, the compromised personal information was more than enough for hackers to commit fraud and identity theft. Worse yet, Yahoo's security measures were outdated and inadequate. The use of the MD5 algorithm, known for its vulnerabilities, made it easy for attackers to reverse engineer passwords. This glaring weakness allowed the hackers to crack passwords and access even more sensitive information with relative ease. The breach not only affected user data but also shattered the public's trust in Yahoo. Millions of users felt betrayed, questioning how a company of Yahoo's stature could allow such a catastrophic event to happen. Many users, already frustrated by Yahoo's decline in innovation and service quality, began abandoning the platform in favor of competitors like Google and Microsoft. This breach was the final blow for Yahoo's already dwindling user base. Adding to the drama, Yahoo was in the midst of negotiations to be acquired by Verizon for $4.83 billion when news of the breach broke. Verizon immediately began reconsidering the terms of the deal, realizing that acquiring Yahoo now meant inheriting a significant security breach, along with the associated legal and financial repercussions. The fallout was swift. The breach led to a flurry of lawsuits against Yahoo. Users filed class action suits accusing the company of negligence in protecting their personal information. Regulatory bodies, including the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, also launched investigations into Yahoo's handling of the breach. The SEC wanted to know why it had taken Yahoo so long to disclose the breach, and whether the company had violated any laws by withholding critical information from the public. After months of negotiations, Verizon agreed to proceed with the acquisition, but not without substantial concessions from Yahoo. The original purchase price was reduced by $350 million, dropping the total sale to $4.48 billion. Furthermore, Yahoo would be responsible for 50% of any future liabilities related to the breach, including legal fees and settlements. The repercussions of the breach extended beyond corporate boardrooms. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, announced indictments against 4 individuals connected to the Yahoo breach. The attackers included 2 Russian intelligence agents from the FSB, Federal Security Service, and 2 criminal hackers, one of whom was Karim Baratov, a Canadian national. The DOJ revealed that the FSB agents had hired the hackers as part of a larger Russian espionage operation aimed at gathering intelligence on high-profile targets. The indictment highlighted a troubling trend: the rise of state-sponsored cyberattacks. This breach was not just about stealing data for profit. It represented a serious threat to national security, with implications that extended far beyond Yahoo. The hackers targeted journalists, diplomats, government officials, and business leaders, using stolen data to spy on individuals in positions of power. One of the hackers, Karim Baratov, was arrested in Canada and later extradited to the United States, where he pleaded guilty to charges related to the breach and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. However, the 2 FSB agents and the other hacker remained in Russia, protected by the Russian government, which refused to extradite them. This lack of accountability underscored the challenges of pursuing justice in cases involving state-sponsored actors. As the legal battles continued, Yahoo struggled to cope with the fallout from the breach. In 2018, the company reached a settlement in a class action lawsuit for $85 million. The settlement included $50 million in compensation for affected users and $35 million in legal fees. In addition to financial penalties, Yahoo committed to improving its security measures and implementing stronger encryption for user data. The Yahoo breach served as a wake-up call for tech companies and governments alike. It exposed the vulnerabilities that existed even within established organizations. In response, many companies began investing heavily in cybersecurity, improving their encryption methods, and enhancing their monitoring systems to detect potential breaches more effectively. The breach also led to increased regulatory scrutiny. In 2018, the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, went into effect, imposing strict requirements on companies to protect user data and promptly disclose any breaches. Companies that failed to comply faced hefty fines. In the United States, California passed the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, giving consumers greater control over their personal data and requiring companies to be more transparent about their data protection practices. For Yahoo, the damage was irreparable. The breach marked the beginning of the end for the company as an independent entity. Once a pioneer of the internet, Yahoo had diminished to a shadow of its former self. After the Verizon acquisition, Yahoo was merged with AOL to create a new company called Oath, leading to the erosion of its legacy as one of the founding giants of the internet. The Yahoo data breach remains the largest known data breach in history, affecting nearly every user of the company's services. It revealed the vulnerabilities that exist even in the systems of large tech companies and highlighted the growing threat of state-sponsored cyber attacks. The breach also emphasized the need for transparency and accountability in the tech industry, particularly concerning user data security. As companies collect vast amounts of personal information, the need for robust security measures and ethical data handling has never been more pressing. Users increasingly expect companies to protect their personal information, and failures like Yahoo's have lasting consequences for consumer trust and corporate reputation. In the aftermath of the breach, the tech landscape shifted dramatically. Users became more cautious about the services they used and more aware of their digital privacy rights. Tech giants faced increasing pressure from consumers and regulators to prioritize cybersecurity and transparency in their data protection practices. The incident also sparked broader discussions about cybersecurity policies at both corporate and governmental levels. It raised critical questions about companies' responsibilities to inform users of breaches in a timely manner and the potential consequences of failing to do so. lawmakers worldwide began advocating for stricter regulations on data protection, emphasizing the importance of accountability and security practices.